Hey first grade, ready for a little field study with me? I've got a couple of websites I'm going to show you through about birds. We're going to learn about an artist that the Audubon Society is based on. I'm going to show you some bird cams, and then don't forget you've got a PDF that you can look through that has the 3 things I noticed, 3 things I wonder, and a spot for you to do a reflection. So make sure you're looking through that too. So this is a link to the Atlanta Audubon Society. You can learn more about birds. You can learn more about their Lights Out to Help Birds project, and we'll take a look at that real quick. So this is just the Atlanta Audubon main page. It's got a lot of interesting information through it, and like many places, it's got information about how to stay safe during this quarantine. And then there's this very interesting information about Lights Out Atlanta, why it's good to keep your lights off at night to help out birds. Bright lights, especially at night, confuse and disorient the birds and migrating birds as they pass over cities like Atlanta. These birds might collide with structures or become trapped in beams of light where they circle until they get too tired and they can't land. Or even sometimes if they hit the ground, sometimes the reflective glass that shows the lights can be confusing to them too. So one of the things that this website has a lot of information about how to help with that. Turn off unnecessary lights, especially at night. Put lights on timers. Close shades or your blinds or your curtains. Only use a strobe light when it's appropriate. And then not only does it help the birds, it can also help us. It can help us save money, reduce energy, helps follow sustainability guidelines. And hey, you can see the stars better when you have less light pollution. So those are 2 sites from that. Let's take a look next. Come on, computer. Then, this one's pretty cool. It is the Audubon's Guide to North America Birds. You could probably sit for a whole day and not see the same birds twice come into your backyard or your front yard if you don't have a backyard. So let's take a look at that site. First, this is the Guide to North America Birds. Now, keep in mind, it's not just Georgia. This is North America birds. You can look through the type of bird, if you know what it is already. You can look through the region. So what side are we? We're going to be, anybody know? We're going to be the southeast. That's right. And then you can search. And it says some of the birds that show up in here. Of course, this is all up and down the coast, so we got to be more specific than that because we're not going to see coast birds like the flamingo all the way up here, but we might see Mr. Goldfinch here, and it'll give you more information about the bird, give you some live pictures, not live, but real pictures of the birds. It's very good resources. Oh, look, it even tells you what to eat, places where it's most commonly going to show up. And then leading into this, there's the Great Backyard Bird Count. I'm going to join this because when I tried to find things in Georgia, there's like 11 people contributing to Georgia. So what this is if you see a bird in your neighborhood or in your yard, you can submit the picture, or not the picture, but you can submit information to say, yes, I saw this bird. And it helps people, especially the Audubon Society, learn and know and track where birds are. So you do have to sign an account, but then you can start doing your submit your observations. You can tell them, okay, fine. It'll ask you what bird it was, what did it look like, how big was it. And it helps keep track of the kinds of birds that are all across well, the whole world actually. Look, see, it's got lots of people participating across the world. So most of them are in North Georgia, but look, there's quite a few even that go down to South America. A lot in India, a lot in Europe, on the edge of Australia and New Zealand. So that was just a pretty cool site. I thought it would be interesting to see, and you can explore. Now we've got the bird cams. There are lots of these on here. I've got quite a few of them. These two link to, well, this one just links to one cam on its own. This links to about 4 different eagle cams, and this one links to a whole bunch of them. So we're gonna take a moment. I'm gonna look through them with you. Let's look at, what's the first one that comes up? Oh, here's the one that has a lot of them. See, it's got a lot of different cams. Like here's the owls. Although, remember, you do need to be patient with these. Sometimes it takes a little while for things to load. And see, now we've got an owl sleeping with his squirrel lunch that apparently he dragged into his nest. And I'm going to close that so it doesn't keep running in the background. And look, look, look. This is for Miss Singman. Here's the penguin cam at the Atlanta Aquarium. I'm not sure what's been going on. They've been standing for a few minutes. I mean, clearly there's somebody shuffling in and out. I wonder if they're waiting for food. Oh, somebody's moving the camera around. Nope, nothing on that side. So, there's the penguin cams. Don't think, nope, that's our artist. And that's that. So, yeah, those cams, I mean, feel free to keep looking at those links, go through them, find some birds to watch. The eagles are pretty too. And then, yes, let's move on to our artist. This is John James Audubon. He's the man who inspired the Audubon Society, all the people who do the birds, or who look after bird care and conservation. He was born in 1785 in a French colony, which is now known as Haiti. He escaped to America about 20 years later so he could avoid being enlisted in a war. And when he moved up to America, he set out to study birds that were in America, and he was determined to paint them more realistically than any other artist. So he's got a lot of detailed pictures, and it talks about, especially on his website, how he often practiced again and again to draw his birds. So we've got 2 links here. One is a link for his a gallery of his works, lots of his birds, and we'll look through that in a moment. But the second one is a very interesting link, at least in my opinion, about how he painted up, well, lots and lots of birds, but there were about a dozen of them that were considered mysterious until scholars later figured out what birds they were, except for 5 of them. There are 5 mysterious birds that John James Audubon painted that nobody's quite been able to figure out what kind of birds they really are. So let's look at, just scroll through his gallery for a moment. Here's a lot of the information you just learned, same from what I just told you. But look at the detail. He didn't just do the birds. He also did places that they lived, like the flamingo, or plants that were around him. And he didn't just do birds. You can see that he did other wildlife too. He focused mostly on birds, but he drew and painted just about everything. So let's look back. So here's 2 highlights of his art. 2 birds that we've studied, the bald eagle, and they're tiny, but they're in there, the ruby-throated hummingbirds. All right, first grade, I hope you've enjoyed this scroll through websites and cams and learning information about a new artist. Again, take a look at your PDF. Go through, make your 3 notices, your 3 wonders, and then do a reflection. And I'll see you later.